happens, and then it'll break thread. That's because the point of your hook is dull, or your timing's off a little bit. Okay. So the three main things that we look at first is the needle, the threading, the point of the hook. You can get burrs off of it with some emery paper. What happens when it hits the needle, it'll put a burr on the end. Usually you can tell that with your fingernail. You rub your fingernail, it'll catch. Okay?
You don't want that?
No. That should be sharp. That
Is
should
it
cut
doing
you.
that?
That's dull. It's dull.
What size?
You don't have a burr on it, but it is dull.
What grit
It should
sandpaper
be
do
really
you
sharp.
I think I use 210 or something like that.
Use? Okay.
But
210. Around 210.
good question. Back. Okay, never from the front. The reason for that is this is going to go up against the needle. Okay, needle. This is going to go up against the needle. Okay, to guard that and keep you from breaking needles is right here in your basket. See this? The needle's going to be up against that. If your timing's right, you're going to be right about there when it hits. You can't push it into the point because this guards it. But as these get play in them here, then you can hit them, okay? Or if you time them too close to where it's actually bending the needle, okay, then you can start screwing the point of the hook up and around the basket. You should do that every day anyway. This reservoir here is to oil the hook only, okay? You have a high and a low mark here. When it's tipped back like that, it should be between there. You're at the low, okay? I don't even bother with this, okay? I put every hour a drop of oil right on the hook to make sure it's lubricated good. I never trust any machine to oil the hook enough.
Now you have to do it from this position, or can you do it from
No,
just...
you can do here, even with the throat plate on, slide this open and just go straight in here.
Side on
Right here where the hook is spinning around the basket. So, again, I don't trust sewing machines enough to be smart enough to oil themselves right. I put oil in the hook. The hook is what's doing all of
Yeah,
the
that
work.
looks crisp.
Okay, so the three main things first is the needle, the threading, and check for burrs on the hook. Okay, when you break a needle, besides dulling the point, where it usually hits is here. Okay, rub your fingernail along here. Fingernail's great because you can tell. Rub your fingernail around there. Yeah, your fingernail should just go. If you use your finger, sometimes you guys can't feel it. If you use your fingernail, if it catches, the thread's going to catch. Okay, that has to come off.
And just sanding it lightly would do it?
No, sanding it heavily. Sometimes they're so deep, you have to actually pull it and, you know, maybe take your Dremel tool and get them. Then if they get really deep, you can't get them back. I've seen them nicked where they're... Okay. Now, timing on this machine, these 1541s, if they have a safety clutch, which you don't have on this, okay, it's going to have a release, so if they jam, they release. All of yours over here, that you can, but you don't have that. Okay. All right, so let's assume that we have changed the needle. We've done the tensions are all good. We've taken all of the burrs out of this. Okay. And it's better, but we're still having trouble. Okay. So then we're going to set the timing next.
Is that hard?
Oh, so difficult. None of it's hard if you know how to do it. I use it on everything. Okay? All right. So Now we're going to check the timing of it. Okay? If your hook was bad, we would go ahead and replace the hook, but we're going to check the timing. Okay, timing on almost all machines, even if they're overlocked, everything. Okay, that long arm, I give it a little bit more, but the your main timing is needle in the rotation. This machine rotates this way. Needle goes all the way down. Okay, it rises 1/8 of an inch. These are nice because they give you the timing. See this little thing here? This is to show you what the timing mark should be. Okay, but it should be 1/8 of an inch.
So
See
it
that?
should be in line with that thing?
No, what I'm showing you is what 1/8 of an inch is. See the bushing? My fingernail's up against the bushing.
Okay.
I'm going to come down 1/8 of an inch. Got it?
Yeah.
Does that look like 1/8 of an inch? Everyone agrees? Okay, so needle went all the way down. It rises 1/8 of an inch. I'm letting it rise till my finger touches. Okay? See that? 1/8 of an inch. That's when the point of the hook should be at the needle. Okay? Got it? Who tried to time this? Bullshit.
You did.
I don't leave them like that. I know if it's my timing.
Maybe Patrick. You know
Okay.
Patrick.
Okay, so the timing as far as the rise is good, but the point of the hook should be up against the needle. You got a gap between the needle. Okay, as the needle goes down and rises, it creates a loop in the thread. See the loop there? Where? What loop? Hold on. Needle goes down all the way, rises. See that loop?
Yeah, that was pulling right there.
That's what it's grabbing. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. This one here. See it miss it?
Yep.
Ooh, skipping, breaking thread, everything.
Why is it doing that?
Because the hook is not up against the needle.
And why is that?
Because somebody timed it wrong or hit something and it moved. Okay? So your timing where you want that is, again, all the way down, 1/8 of an inch rise, and the point is there. Okay? If it rises 1/4 of an inch and then it gets there, okay, well, you would be below the eye of the needle, but then you can't pull it up. You'll never get your tensions right because there's too much thread down. If it only comes all the way down and just barely starts to rise and the point of the hook's there, you're too fast. Your timing, then you'll skip, you'll break thread, all sorts of problems because it didn't give it enough loop to wrap all the way around the bobbin.
Okay, so when the needle is all the way down,
Take the needle all the way down.
rise up 1/8 of an inch, and at that point, the hook should be at the needle.
Point of the hook. Okay, the whole thing is the hook. The point of the hook.
Point of the
Yeah. So
All the way
again, down, rises 1/8 of an inch, and the way I tell 1/8 of an inch is I move 1/8 of an inch from the bushing. See that?
Yep.
And then let it rise till my finger touches. That's 1/8 of an inch. Timing's actually pretty close.
Yeah.
See the point of the hook at the needle? But you should be able to push the needle and it not move. It should be up against it. Okay? You have 2 screws here.
You just loosen them?
Yeah, it moves easier when they're loose.
No, I thought you were going to take it out.
Well, that's enough that it isn't going to move by itself, but that you can still move it a little yourself. Okay, so I want the point of the hook up against the needle. I don't want it as it's going by, bending the needle. See, if you get it too close, you'll see that needle bend out as it goes by, as it hits it. It's not, but it's right up against it. If I try and move this,
Not moving.
it's not moving, it's right up against it.
So how did you do that?
I loosen the 2 screws and I move the hook over.
I didn't see that. So.
Okay. Well, you're going to see it in a minute because I'm going to have you do it. Now,
Good.
the timing is still good. Wouldn't sew now, but the timing's right. The needle bar has slipped, not the timing. Sometimes that'll happen, and I see people all the time. The needle bar slips, they get in here and they go, oh yeah, it's not picking it up. So they change the timing and bring the timing to where it'll come in there and grab it. But what's your problem? Your timing's too fast. Okay? So when you're timing it, always time it to the rise. Put my point at the needle, put my finger here, back it off. Is that 1/8 of an inch? Yes.
Yeah.
Timing's right. So you set your timing, then make sure your needle bar is right. Unless you really hit something hard, these aren't going to move. Now where you want your needle bar is, if you have the 1/8 inch rise, the book will tell you it should be in the middle of that scarf. The scarf being that half moon cutout in the needle.
It's
There.
right by your flashlight.
Okay. The book will tell you to be in the middle of the scarf here. Okay. I tend to put them down a little bit lower. Okay. So that the hook point doesn't come in the middle of the needle, it comes closer to the eye.
You time up the needle bar. You
The
like
needle
to put
bar
it
high.
lower?
Yeah. No, I like it up a little. Instead of in the middle of the scarf, I'd like the needle just a hair higher. The reason for that is see when it rises, see the loop?
Yeah.
Where is the loop the biggest?
On the left.
Right by the eye, right towards the bottom. So that's what I want. I want to catch that biggest part of that loop. Okay? Now I am bumping. Why? Oh, I'm still too high with the needle. Okay. The other way that you know where to put the needle bar, see the thread coming out the eye of the needle? The eye being the hole in it?
Yeah.
You don't want that needle going down past the bobbin case. Right there. To where it's rubbing the thread down here.
Okay, I see that.
Okay? Because then your needle is going too low. This is your bobbin case to protect it. You're going too low and the thread is rubbing here. You'll end up breaking thread because as it rubs there, keep in mind these are sewing it at least 1,000, 1,500 times a minute. Rubbing that thread, it'll break it. And it'll also heat up the needle so it can melt it. So always make sure that the eye of the needle is right above the basket there. Okay?
When it's at its lowest point,
Yeah. See right there? You can see the loop in the thread?
so you want the eye of the needle right
Yeah.
above. the
Right,
basket.
right above the basket, as low as you can go, but it not touching the thread. See that? Okay. It's threaded right. You got all the burrs off of this. The point looks looks fair. You sharpened it some, and you set your timing right. You're still having trouble breaking thread or whatever. Hooks, when you break a bunch of needles, get scratches on them, mainly on the gib there or the point of the hook. Sometimes they will scratch inside where the hook is going around the basket. If that's so, there's nothing you can do. So if you've done this, okay, and you're still having trouble, replace the hook. Especially if you're going, well, the point's better, but it ain't right, you know. I've taken the points before, and I can take my Dremel tool and spins around. Okay? That's going to be in the way from taking it out. Okay? And see this little guard here? I think that's a splash guard or something. I have no earthly idea what that does. I take them out. So don't worry about putting it back in. So we're going to take this screw loose that's holding the positioning finger. Okay? Now, sometimes your hook is fine, your point of your hook is good. There's no scratches on it, but you're still breaking thread. You broke some needles, but the hook is good. You can have scratches elsewhere. Besides the hook, the thread is passing two other things. One is the hole in the feed dog. That don't look scratched up. Okay, so you want to make sure that you get the burrs out of that. The other place the thread is passing, or when you're going through all of this, that's the two other spots that you want to check. Your positioning finger that's holding it, the thread has to run right past there. So if this gets a scratch on it or a cut on it, it'll break thread. This gets a scratch inside the hole there, the thread's coming right by there every time. Okay, this, you can take the scratches off, make sure it's nice and smooth. And then the hook is free. It's going to hit up against here. There's one spot, you got to turn the basket there. Okay, where this can actually come out. Okay. Volunteer. Thank you. All right, so you've taken your hook out, you're going to put a new one in, or you're going to actually... Oh, there's a scratch inside. See, run that around. No, feel it?
That's why it catches on there like that.
Can. That's a new one. That's what it should feel like. Enough that it cuts you. Okay. And you can actually see too if you put the light. You can see where it's discolored at the tip. Okay. You want that to come to a sharp point. Always from the back, not from here.
Discolored tip. Got it.
Get it good and sharp.
Get that tip discolored.
Whoever is stuck with it in their hand when we get it sharp puts it in.
Josh.
What?
He's our mechanic right here.
He's shooting fish in a barrel.
You don't have that class no more at Palomar?
Eric passed away.
Oh, he was the one that ran it.
This?
It was from the bottom side.
Yeah, but you may want to tip it back to see.
I can't even see what they're doing.
This is becoming a hassle.
So you're correct.
Just lock the wheels, Josh.
Okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. So that's iPhone.
That's good.
Wait, camera sucks.
Inside of it.
This is going to be like this.
Oh, it goes straight up.
There's a channel in here. You have a light. See it with the hole? Yeah, so it's going to go right there.
You can't see
Find
it.
the hole. Ah!
Yeah, that's good lighting. Good camera on.
Boy.
Oila, oila, oila.
All right, move. You can't grab it.